Hey everybody, this is harmoniously, and in today's lesson, we're going to go over the kick and sub bass relationship. Cool, so we're in Logic, and I'm just going to put in a kick, and I'm going to put in a sub, and then we'll go from there, okay? So, first thing we're going to do is a kick. Just any random kick, it's peaking at -8, just go and master and check. So there you go, it's peaking at -8, fantastic. Now we know it's peaking at -8, we can put the limiter on, and I also turn the master down to -5. And this is how I make my tracks. It's just how I was taught by a really famous engineer. It's always worked for me. Cool. So we've got a kick in a sampler. We're now going to add a bass. So I'm just going to go and add my normal bass that I've been using for years. It's a silent bass. And just to keep it simple, we're going to do a nice offbeat. I always turn the velocity up, and I don't always have a note right to the end. I have it just before, and now choose the right octave. So in this particular key of C, there you go, straight away it sounds good, right? Okay, so we've got a good kick, we've got a good sub, but now we want to get the perfect kick that works with our sub. For the longest time, I used to just put in a random kick in there, and work the bass to the kick. And then one day I thought, hold on a minute, I use the same bass in every track, albeit a different variation in a different key, maybe slightly different EQ and R bass settings, but it's the same sound. So I should be auditioning my kicks to my bass. It took me years to figure that out, as crazy as that might sound. And when I did that, I was having so much more success with my kick and basses. So we're going to audition our kicks to our bass. Before we do that, let's just mix a sub into the kick. How well I like to do it is I get a rough starting point. I'm not going to shut my eyes. I look like a right idiot with my eyes shut. But sometimes I shut my eyes and I just focus on the sound of the kick sub. And I'll have my mouse hovering over the mute button and I'll unmute it. I'm going to like Stevie Wonder or something. And I'll listen to see, when I unmute the sub, does the kick's low end disappear? And I'll keep turning it up until the point that the sub starts to interfere with the kick's low end. When I do that, I know I've got it just too loud, so I'll drop it down a little bit. I'm not going to close my eyes. To me, that sounds like it's interfering ever so slightly. So let's drop it down a bit. Really focusing my mind on the sub in the kick, so the kick's low end. To me, that's a little bit too loud, so I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. Cool, so we know that we've got a rough mix on the bass to the kick at -8, and the kick to me is the be all and end all. Everything is mixed around the kick, so we've got a nice starting point. Now let's adjust the bass and work on the sub and get that sub to really rumble. Rumble, it's a term that a famous producer told me, and he was like, hey, I'm playing your tracks in the clubs and the bass is just flat, like you need to get it to rumble. And he explained how to do that. I always wear slippers in my studio, bit of an old man. So what I do is I just slip my slippers off, put my feet on the floor, and what I want to do is I want to hear the bass. Really good trick, this. So we'll open up the EQs. Now it's worth noting that this EQ here is how I set up my sub. So I cut it at about 400 hertz and I have this cut, and I don't really touch that because with this bass, if I turn that off, the cut there is just to allow the kick to cut through. It's just something that I've always kept like the same. I've never adjusted that. 60, 70 tracks, I've never touched this EQ once. What I will do is I'll adjust this little EQ after, but for now we'll turn it off. We'll open up the R bass. I don't tend to add compression on my sub. I mean, I'm not going to start changing things now. 60, 70 tracks, and I've never done it. We can try and do it. Let's see. But for now, feet are on the floor. I want to feel it rumble. I want to feel it on my feet. Right now, I can feel it like at the top of my toes, but I can't feel it on the soles of my feet. On my heel. into the red a little bit. Oh, massive difference. So I've adjusted the, let's go over it. We've turned the gain down to about -3, just to make sure it doesn't peak or clip. I've put the intensity to about 6, and I've put the frequency to 50 hertz. And that way I can really feel the bass on my feet. So I'll slip my slippers back on. And now let's have a look. Actually, I'll take them back off, actually. I know it's crazy taking your shoes off, right? But you remember, in a nightclub, you want to be able to feel the bass. It's all good hearing the bass, which we can do, clearly. But bass is about a feeling, so worth noting. Also, I have this gain EQ plugin, which allows me to mono the sub. Doesn't really make much of a difference in the studio, but apparently it makes a big difference in nightclubs, because apparently all systems in all nightclub systems are in mono. So I don't know what that means, to be honest with you. There is a sweet spot where it just, the feeling on my feet just gets a bit stronger, so we're going to keep it there. So now we've got the perfect bass. We know that before we mixed it to the kick. Let's have a listen to the kick and see, do we need to adjust it? I tend to nowadays, especially, I don't like big hammer kind of kicks. It sound like sledgehammers. I just prefer nice punchy kicks, more like a jock kick, Brian Carney kind of kick. I don't really like these like slappy kicks, especially the sledgehammer kicks that, you know, photographer and things like that. Amazing producer, but it's such a compressed sound. It doesn't feel natural to me. Like, look, getting that sound is incredible, and I take my hats off to people who can do that. I can't do it, but I don't particularly like that tight, over-compressed sledgehammer kind of sound. So I prefer more of a natural kind of sound with dynamics. Just my personal preference. Again, I'm not dissing them kind of producers. They're incredibly talented, and it's worth noting. Anyway, we'll go to the bus channel. What is on there? So this EQ, we might do a bit of EQing on, some additive EQ. But we've got this EQ, which has got a bit of subtractive EQ on it. And we're basically just removing 30 hertz. So let's listen. If you can't hear that, then your ears respectfully just not developed enough, but it's quite a minimal kind of difference. But that really allows for the sub to cut through the kick. It cleans it up. It's a crazy thing. And again, didn't used to do that before, and it's something I started doing 3-4 years ago. And again, I really feel like it's improved my kick and bass relationships. Straight away, this kick and bass relationship works really well. It's what I would call gelled together. It sounds like one. What we're going to do is we're going to audition some different kicks, and I'm going to show you which kicks don't really sound gelled together and which ones do. And we're going to see if we can create an even better relationship that we've already got. This kick and bass relationship already is really nice. If we go to a sampler, what kick is this? It's, I don't even know what kick it is. No, I don't know. I must have renamed it, but it's a nice solid kick that I have in my template just to come off the fly, just to create a nice kick and sub. Now, you'd be, I don't know how to really say it. You could be tempted to just keep this kick and this bass in every track. Now, albeit I use the same bass sound in pretty much 95% of tracks. There's the odd one where I've changed it, but it's just, it works in all notations, all keys. The kick you want to change up. You don't want to be a template producer where you're just using the same kick and a bass all the time. So again, it's tempting to do that, but we're not lazy producers, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to use something called a loop cloud. Really, really cool bit of software. And we're going to use it to audition kicks. I'm going to open the app. Change my screen so we can see loop cloud. It's currently connected to this channel. So let's just mute the sub. And we want to find kick drums. This is Day Parkinson 2. Just an incredible pack, obviously, as everyone knows. You can use any kicks, but I always recommend the Day Parkinson ones are just solid. A lot of these other trance producers that are putting kick packs out, I personally don't really feel they're that good. I feel like the Day Parkinson ones are just staple, albeit I've not tried other producers. I need to try out Alan Morris, actually, because I know he's got some, but there's other producers out there that have put kick samples out, and I find 95% of them are just not particularly good for me. But that's just how my brain uses them. Maybe they're good for them, but yeah, Dave Parkinson for me, just straight up the best kicks, really. Just my opinion. So we want to go to, if I can't even find the bloody things, Dave Parkinson 2 drum hits. Oh, there you go, kick drums. Once you get the hang of his software and you have it dual screen, I've not got 2 screens, so I have to do this. It is really it's a handy bit of software. We need to get it to play now. So just a tip, it can be a bit finicky to get this work, but once it works, as I said, it's worth it. When you're doing your kicks, you need to press edit, and you need to pull this section down to 1 beat. So currently it's 2 beats, so it goes 1, 2. It wants to be 1, 2, 3. So all you do is pull it like that in the edit section, just to confirm, edit. And now it's going to play it. Press play. And if you press spacebar, your door should play it straight from Logic. And the great thing about Loop Cloud is 2 things. 1, it plays it in time with your BPM. And 2, you can change your key. Now, we're not going to change the key, obviously, here. But it's very useful for mid-bass and stuff like that. Third thing is it auditions your sounds via your door. So if I go like this, awesome. So we can now audition some different kicks. Let's play the sub. We know that we've got a nice kick and bass relationship because we've already done it. And this is the beauty of doing this method. We've already put in a nice kick, got it to peak at -8, gone to a sub, mixed the sub to about -8, done some auditioning, so done some EQing, some processing, and now we're going to go back and mix some kicks in. And we know that it's roughly going to be a nice mix. Last thing you want to do is audition the kick when the sub sounds like crap and you're not happy with it and the volume's all over the place. I've done it before in the past, and it's just like, it's because I was lazy or excited because I want to get cracking on, but ultimately you're just going to run into problems. So always make sure that you've got the balance of the kick and the sub right, and you've got the sub as you want it to be. It's no good having the sub 60% right and then trying to audition a kick to it. It's like almost like building a house that's a bit a bit lopsided and trying to put a roof on. It's not going to work, is it? You need everything to be perfect. Me and my analogies, I love them. Right, so right. This is a perfect example of a kick and bass that do not gel together. In my mind, in my ears, in my head, what I hear are 2 different sounds, a floppy kick and a bass. There's no relationship, they're not gelled together. So that's a good example of a kick and bass that isn't good. Another good example of a kick and bass that aren't gelled together. What I'm looking for is just something that clicks in my mind. It's hard to explain, but most of these don't sound that good, if I'm being honest with you. Again, even with the Dave Parkinson pack, look, people have to fill out these packs, and I personally feel that there's a lot of kicks that just don't really work for trance, at least the kind of trance I want to make. So it's just finding that perfect kick. I love that one. The kick and bass relationship is fantastic, but the kick has a bit of a strange artifact in the high end. So I was just having to play back with EQ. Let's just throw in a loop. And again, I do the same thing with Loop Cloud. It's such a great bit of software. I don't think you can actually do two at once. So I'll tell you what we'll do. So what you've done, once you've got your kick, you just press export. Now we don't have to press export because we've not changed the key, but I'm going to do it anyway. But if you've changed the key, you press export and then just drag it straight to Logic. Or your DAW, obviously. I always recommend working in audio as well for your main kick. I sometimes, what I like to do, in an ideal world, I'll put the kick roll in MIDI because you've just got more control over it. So all you'll do is you'll load up your kick roll sampler, drag the audio straight in. You can actually do it in Logic too. So I could just drag this in, go to mapping. This is the great thing about working like this. You just drag it straight in. I'm not going to let it drop, and then straight away, I've got my kick roll in MIDI, so I've got more control. Again, just my way of doing it. So let's just check if this all works out, okay? For some reason the solo button's not working. I don't know why. Oh, my keyboard just stopped working. How strange. That's crazy. What the heck? Welcome to the world of production, eh? How weird. So now we're no longer using Loop Cloud. We don't need this kick in MIDI. We're not going to use it. We don't need a kick on Loop Cloud, so delete what you don't need. What we want to do is make sure this kick's peaking at -8, sorry. So again, I always just check on a master. So it's a bit quiet. There you go, peaking at -8. It's actually showing me on the bus as well, which matches with the master. Sometimes it doesn't do that. It's fucking weird. Put a limiter back on. Then we drop down to -5. On to -6, but again, it's deceiving because of the limiter. Just double checking it. That is mental. Maybe I must have had the EQ turned off. No, because it's gone back to -7. Production's weird sometimes, isn't it? I don't get what's happened there, but whatever. -8, -8, perfect. So that's the everything mixed nicely. I don't trust the bus channels in Logic, especially with the kick. So I'll always just check it on the master as well, just because again, I don't really understand it. Everything goes to the bus channel, and the bus channel shows the output. So then that should match the main output, but sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know why. So I've just got in a habit now of for the kick, just checking it on the master just to be sure. It's a bit back and forth, but you know, there's no room for error when you're making quality trance music, professional trance music. So we've got the kick, we've EQ'd it, we're happy with it. I just want to put in a loop just to see how does it sound. Is it going to sound good with other elements? Realistically, I should have a loop in my template to save time, and I think moving forward I'll do that. And that's one thing as well. I've been producing now since 2007, October 2007, and I'm still constantly developing and learning, being the best producer I can be. I've got some amazing tutorials coming up about how to work faster on your DAW and in your workspace on your computer, how to manage files and get to file paths faster in a Mac anyway. I hope it will work with a PC, but yeah, it's all just about developing and learning and, you know, improving your workflow and being the best producer you can be. Anyway, so we'll go to Loop Cloud again, and this is why I love Loop Cloud. We'll open up Loop Cloud here. I think that's it. It's a bit tricky when using two different loop clouds, so you have to bear with me. Yep, it says it's open, so we should be good. And what we're going to do this time is go to percussion. Again, just the Dave Parkinson packs works so well. We'll go to drum loops, actually. And I like these percussion loops. Techno loops are good as well. Straight away, that is fucking sick. Put it into the audio channel. You'll see I'm using noise gate to clean up that loop. Only just discovered it like literally not long ago at all, and what a difference. Crazy. So what you see me doing there is putting in some loops just to get an idea of how the kick's going to sound, and then adjusting the EQ. A lot of back and forth my method. There's a lot of back and forth my method, but it works for me. So let's just quickly drag this loop audio just so we've got it. Can now get rid of loop cloud. Just mute it. Get rid of that groove. Now we fucked about with the kick. So why did we fuck about with the kick? Because we got a loop in, felt how it sounded with other elements, which we're going to need to do later on, and then we adjusted. So now we'll go back to a kick. Let's see if this works. Kick's now peaking at -6.7. Now we've mixed the bass and the percussion to a kick. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that groove bus and that, like, rather than messing about with the bus, actually, we'll just take the sections themselves. So we've highlighted the both the loops, the sub, okay, and the kick. So now we're going to turn that kick down so it peaks at -8. messed up there. So you want a kick bus, sub, in both loops. Check the kick. Just show -13 because you've got to account for your -5. So put that back on. And awesome. Now we've turned down the percussion, the bass. Yeah, the percussion and the bass around the kick, because we got it mixed perfectly in terms of the levels of everything. But we had to then adjust the kick. So now. Awesome. You can then mess about as well and just do something like this. There you go. So pretty cool tutorial there on how to get the kick and the bass relationship. I think a lot of it comes down to personal preference and what your ears hear, what your mind hears. This sounds good to me. The kick and the bass are gelled. We've gone back and forth to get the mix perfect. We've thrown some percussion in, which we're going to use later on anyway, just to kind of see, hey, how is this kick going to sound in the grand scheme of things with your other elements? You're going to need to do that anyway. Imagine working on this kick and bass and then realizing when you put percussion in, shit, it doesn't work right. Okay, so that is my process now to get a great kick and sub relationship. Just to recap, throw in any kick, get it to peak at -8, mix your sub to your kick, I mute the kick, I work on a sub, I get it to sound good with the processing, and then I'll mix that sub to the kick, and then I'll audition different kicks to the sub, just to make sure it's absolutely perfect. And then you can throw in a loop or a mid bass, something like that, and do any final adjustments, and then just have one more re-level, and that's it. Okay, so as always, we're going to announce a winner. We've been giving away lessons every single video. It's been going really well so far. I've had a few, and all you need to do to win is drop a creative comment. Okay, last week's winner, Ignite137. So drop my manager Chris an email. The email will be on the screen somewhere. I think maybe there, about there. So yeah, just email Chris and he'll send you a calendar link to book your lesson. And if you would like to be in with a chance of winning a lesson, all you need to do is drop a creative comment, something that sparks my attention. I'm generally choosing the comments where people are actually going into depth and writing something interesting. Ignite137 mentioned about that he had an engineer coming in at university, and it happens to be the guy that wrote a lot of Tiesto's tracks. And I thought, oh my god, that's awesome. I've heard so much about that guy. And yeah, I had a similar experience when I went to university too. So hey, that sparked my attention, and that's why I chose him. If you would like to learn more about this on a one-to-one basis, as always, you could drop me a line, tutorials@lmsdj.com. It will be on the screen. And I offer a 1-month paid trial, full money back guarantee, all that kind of stuff. So if you'd like to take your learning to the next level, please do get in touch. But other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.